Ever found yourself elbow deep in a bag of Doritos after a crazy day? Kids are fighting, you have no clue what to make for dinner, you got that stressful email from your boss, and of course, the husband's working late again. If emotional eating is your go-to in moments like these, you're not alone. In this episode, we're diving into why we reach for those snacks and how we can break the cycle. So tune in for my favorite mom hacks to conquer emotional eating and reclaim your sanity. Welcome to Rad Mom Revival, the podcast for busy Christian moms who want to ditch the diet drama, boost their energy, and reclaim their Rad Mom status. I'm your host, Susan Gladstein, aka the Metabolism Maven, and as a mom of 6, I totally get it. The never-ending to-do list, the exhaustion, and that nagging mom guilt anytime you try to take care of yourself. Been there. But there is a better way, and I'm here with some mom hacks that are going to rock your world. Together, we'll dive into balancing the chaos, losing weight without losing your mind, and carving out time for yourself and epic adventures. My mission is to help you live and model a healthy lifestyle that your kids and grandkids will thank you for. If you're ready to have so much energy that your kids say, "Mom, you need to chill," then you've found your tribe. So grab your headphones and that never-ending pile of laundry, and let's get started. It's time for Rad Mom Revival. Ever feel like you're running on empty, barely keeping up with the kids, work, and all of the chaos of life? I get it. I've been there too. What if you could actually have the energy to power through your day and feel less stressed in just 2 weeks? If this sounds like something you need to join our 14-day Energy Boost Challenge. I'm sharing real-life mom hacks to help you say goodbye to exhaustion and hello to feeling more like yourself again. Join us at radmomrevival.com because your kids get the best when you're at your best. Today we're diving into a topic that I know many of us struggle with, emotional eating. A few years ago, I had one of those days that just seemed to stretch forever. The kids were fighting nonstop. I had all these work deadlines, and I was just running on fumes. By the time I finally got the kids to bed, I was completely drained. I found myself in the kitchen, staring at that delicious tub of chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream, and I knew I didn't need it, but I wanted to feel something other than the stress and exhaustion I'd been battling all week long. So, I grabbed a spoon and dug in. As I sat there, eating spoonful after spoonful, I could feel the temporary relief wash over me. But it was just that, temporary. Soon, the guilt set in. I knew better. As a health coach, I had all the knowledge about nutrition. Yet, I felt powerless to stop myself. It was a cycle I knew all too well. Get stressed, eat, feel guilty, repeat. My struggle with emotional eating started long before I became a health coach. When I was 14, my dad committed suicide, and it was a devastating loss that left a huge hole in my heart and tons of abandonment issues. I wasn't really a drinker, and I'm kind of averse to risky behavior, so food really became my go-to. Whenever I felt sad, anxious, depressed, or even happy, I turned to food for comfort. It was my way of coping with emotions I didn't know how to handle. Honestly, I'm not even sure I realized I was emotionally eating until I became a health coach. I thought I had to have it all together. But all these issues with emotional eating, and it all just seemed to magnify. I felt like a fraud. I was preaching all of these healthy habits while secretly was battling my own food demons. The guilt, the shame was overwhelming. I knew what I should be doing, but I just couldn't stop eating my emotions. It wasn't until I started exploring my emotional eating from a biblical perspective that things really began to change. No one in my nutrition studies had ever talk to me about emotional eating, and certainly not from a biblical perspective. But I realized I had been viewing food as the enemy, which was exactly what the devil wanted. I mean, think about it. How many times did the devil use food to tempt people? In the Garden of Eden, he tempted Eve with the forbidden fruit. And in the wilderness, he tempted Jesus to turn stones into bread. The devil's goal was to undermine trust and obedience to God. The diet industry really perpetuates this view that food is the enemy. I mean, we're bombarded with messages to restrict, to label foods as good or bad, and to strive for perfection, which is truly an unattainable goal. Listen, if you're struggling with perfection, just know that Jesus was the only perfect person to walk the earth. I mean, honestly, this mindset fuels our emotional eating because it creates this cycle of deprivation and guilt. A few years ago, I read a book that changed everything for me. It was called Full: Food, Jesus, and the Battle for Satisfaction. And in it, the author shares that our food fixations often stem from a place of spiritual hunger. I had never even considered this before. I'd studied all this nutrition, but I had never considered that my issues were spiritually driven. I mean, we spend so much time seeking fullness in something that will never satisfy. And the Bible speaks to this struggle too. In John 6:35, Jesus declares, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." Our deepest cravings are meant to lead us to Christ, the only one who can truly satisfy. So, how can we apply these lessons to our own struggles with emotional eating? Here are 5 practical strategies inspired by biblical truth that transformed my life. Number 1, run to God, not the pantry. When you feel the urge to eat emotionally, pause and pray. Pour out your heart to God and ask Him to fill you with His peace and presence. Remember, He cares about every detail of your life, even your struggles with food. As 1 Peter 5:7 says, cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. You might want to create a prayer prompt card. Keep it in your kitchen or your pantry. It has this verse, or maybe a simple prayer like, God, I'm feeling whatever emotion right now. Please fill me with your peace and presence. Help me to find my satisfaction in you. Number 2, know your triggers. Keep a food and mood journal for a week. Whenever you feel the urge to eat, jot down what you're feeling and why. At the end of the week, look for patterns. What emotions trigger your eating? Is it stress, boredom, loneliness? I had a client once who, whenever she would stress eat, she realized she was feeling lonely. And as we peeled back the layers of that experience, she was taken back to being a little girl and baking cookies with her grandmother in the kitchen, and how she longed for that togetherness again. Her grandmother is no longer around, and yet as a grandmother herself, she just wanted that sweetness and connection. So she'd always want to bake cookies herself. Once you identify your triggers, I recommend creating a nourishment menu. This is a list of healthy ways to cope when those emotions arise. You might consider taking a prayer walk or journaling your feelings, calling a friend. You can post the menu on your fridge or your pantry door as just a visual reminder to turn to these options instead of food. Number 3, eat with gratitude. This one was the thing that changed everything for me. I'd spent so much time seeing food as the enemy, but when I stopped and took a moment to give thanks, praying a simple prayer of gratitude for the food and for God's provision, everything tasted better. As 1 Thessalonians 5:18 encourages, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. As you eat, slow down, savor each bite, engage your senses, and really appreciate the flavors and textures and the nourishment that the food provides. This practice of eating mindfully and full of gratitude will really help you, especially if you're struggling with emotional eating. Number 4, find your people. Identify a couple of trusted friends or even a support group that you can share your struggles with. As Ecclesiastes 4:9-10 reminds us, 2 are better than 1, and if either of them falls down, one can help the other up. If you're looking for a community of like-minded moms, you can come join us on our Patreon channel. It's a place where we share, support, and grow together. We dive deep into these topics, encourage each other, and have a lot of fun along the way. Number 5, fill up on truth. Create a collection of go-to scriptures that remind you of your identity in Christ and His power to satisfy your deepest needs. You can write these on note cards, post them around your home, or even set it as your phone lock screen. Whenever you face temptation or discouragement, turn to these truths. As Psalm 119:11 says, I have hidden your word in my heart that I may not sin against you. Remember, overcoming emotional eating is a journey. There's going to be ups and downs, but always know that God is with you every step of the way. As you implement these strategies and lean into His strength, He will transform your relationship with food. Just keep showing up, keep pressing into the Word, and keep reaching out for support. If you want to dive deeper into this topic, I highly recommend checking out the book Full. It's been a game changer for me and so many of my clients. I'll be sure to link it in the show notes. I'd love to hear about your own journey with emotional eating and how you're excited to find satisfaction in God instead. So come say hi over on Instagram, share your story in our Patreon tribe, and thanks for joining me today. Remember, you are so loved. Hey there, thanks for tuning in to Rad Mom Revival. I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to reclaim your Rad Mom status. If you enjoyed the show, do me a favor, subscribe and leave me a review and share it with your mom friends who desperately need some me time. I'd totally be honored if their me time was spent hiding in the bathroom listening to this podcast. I'd also love to get connected if we aren't already. Find me on social media and join our awesome tribe at radmomrevival.com. Until next time, keep embracing the chaos, finding joy in the little things, and living your best Rad Mom life.
Thanks for listening.